Yaakov Nagel, welcome. So good to see you.
Thank you very much. I'm really glad to be here.
Let's start off with the new U.S. aid deal to Israel, which kicks in fiscal year 2019 and assures Israel of $38 billion over the coming 10 years. As generous as it is, and it's generous, might Israel seek to reopen the deal for negotiation with the Trump administration, given some new and evolving threats that weren't really around when you hammered out the deal with the Obama administration last year?
Again, it's not a new deal. It's almost a year exactly since we signed this deal. And the one thing I want to start with is all those that thought and said that we should not sign the deal, that we have to wait. I think that if they are looking around now, some of them can eat their hat, and some of them can admit their mistake. I think that it was a very good decision of the Prime Minister to send us as a team, a combined team, and to sign the deal. Now, the deal have a lot of parts. And this is a deal, this is a negotiation. It took us three and a half years to come to this deal. The deal have good things inside, and sometimes when you negotiate, you give up. And Israel is behind the deals that Israel is signing. And you have to read the deal, the writing, and the wording. Every word of it have a meaning. And Israel, I think, will go according to the writing of the deal. But I'm not in an official job now, so I'm not the decision maker about what to do with this deal. Obviously, but is there some leeway in that deal to accommodate new threats that weren't around when you signed it last September, such as possibly a permanent Iranian presence beyond Israel's border with Syria? We didn't think about this one, and I'm sure we'll come back to Iran later. But this deal, for example, is talking about the part of the deal that deals with the defense, the active defense. Say it very, very clearly that if there will be new threats or maybe a war, there is a way to ask for more money for this part of the deal. The other part of the deal, this is the FMF. For military finance. For the military finance. It said very, very clear that Israel and United States are going according to the deal, and if someone wants to change the deal, it should be mutually, not one-sided. All right, and which brings us to that side letter that President Obama asked Prime Minister Netanyahu to sign, that any funding, any monies above and beyond the scope of the deal, meaning the $3.3 billion annually in the security assistance and the $500 million for missile defense, anything above and beyond that, Israel has to return? No, it's not correct. You are partially correct. Okay. This letter that was published, it was not a side letter, a secret one, it was published in the internet. This letter is about 2017 and 2018 only. It doesn't have anything to do of the New Deal. Now, it says that if the Congress or the Hill will give us more than what we have now, more than 3.1, then we will give it back if it will be against the will of the administration. And that's $75 million that has been plussed up for missile defense Israel does not have to give back? It was not for missile defense. Someone said missile defense, it's for the FMF. Right. And the administration should ask for it, and I don't know what's going on with it. Again, it's said that if something will be not mutually agreed, then we'll give it back, and it's only of about 2017 and 2018. Nothing about the New Deal. Now, let's talk about the New Deal and these Buy America provisions that require Israel to gradually wean itself off of this 26% of the aid that it's allowed to convert into shekels for local R&D or procurement. How big of a blow is that to the Israeli defense industries, or might it be a blessing in disguise, forcing them to become more competitive and efficient? It's not a blow, and it's not a blessing. A blessing. It's something in between. It's part of a negotiation. It's not a secret that we would prefer to have the 26.3 for all 10 years. We started the negotiations with 0 on year 1. We finished it with 0 in year 10, and about 70% during those years. Now I understand the reasons from our American fellows. And again, some people call it a negotiation. We have to remember, it was not a negotiation. It was a talk between partners and friends. And fortunately, our American friends understood that this aid to Israel is also good for the United States. Mm-hmm. We finished with something that is about 70% of the OSP in Israel. I don't like to call it Buy America. I call it OSP. It's offshore procurement. It's yes. Something that we buy in Israel in order to support the American systems that we buy in the United States. It's not that we can take the money and buy with it Israeli everything that we want.
Understand.
We have to show to the United States that we buy something that helps the systems that we buy with the other part of the FMF.
Mm-hmm. Understand, but nevertheless, Israeli industries have to do a lot of preparation for the time when that OSP will be gone.
You are totally right. This is why we got about 7 years, 2 to 3 years on the old agreement, mm-hmm. and about 5 to 6 years on the new one to get ourselves and the industries to prepare. And it's not that the money goes, it's the money that we are spending in the United States instead of Israel.
Right.
And we have to find ways how to do it in the best way.
Let's move on to Russia. And you accompanied the Prime Minister many times with his meetings with President Putin, and you were instrumental in forging the deconfliction that the two militaries have in practice over Syria. Do you believe that Russia ultimately will agree to Israel's demand that there will be an Iranian-free zone beyond Israel's border with the Golan Heights?
First of all, I want to emphasize, mm-hmm. because some people called it a new, something that we just raised up. Mm-hmm. It's something that we said from day one, hour one, that we are not going to tolerate 3 things on our borders. One of them is Iran, under any agreement, to be fixed and for a long time in Syria. We are saying it again and again and again. I was not with the Prime Minister on his last visit to Russia, but I'm sure that it was raised again, and I'm sure that the Prime Minister will talk about it in any meeting that he's doing. Now, this is our demand, and Israel is serious. We are not blinking. We are not saying one thing and meaning another thing. I'm sure that when we say no Iranian on Syria soil, mm-hmm. on any agreement, no terror activities on our borders, and no transfer of game-changing ammunition to Hezbollah in Lebanon, Syria, those 3 points, Israel is going to keep its interests.
And President Putin respects countries that know to live up to their red lines.
Exactly.
It respects Israel in this regard, but ultimately, bottom line, will Russia make sure, before it reduces its footprint in Syria, to make sure that Iran and the Iranian presence is not there beyond the border?
First of all, I belong to those that think that Syria is there to stay. Russia is there to stay in Syria. So I think that we're going to see Russian troops here for a long time. One of the ways to make sure that Russia will understand and will act is to make sure that Russia will understand that it's their interest that there is not going to be any Iranians on Syria soil. I think that the Russians understand. Now it takes time, and it's the decision and the actions that are going to make, I'm sure, will change according to the time scale, according to when they need them, more or less. Now,
and they can control Iran?
They can control things that they want in Syria because it's their influence, it's their coming into Syria, change the situation. And you know, we said always that Syria was an egg and it's become now an omelette. And you cannot make an egg from an omelette. Now, if the Russian interest will be that the Iranians will not be there, I believe they can do whatever needed.